Lee Jones here from esports.net. I'm with Fnatic's Mikyx after a pretty long drawn out win against BDS. I guess just first off, why do you think it was such kind of like a slog in that one today? Do you think it's just natural against like a poke comp like that? You have to be a bit careful, or could you have closed it
Nah,
out quicker?
I think we were just kind of trolling like early game. Like we kind of got triple killed in like the first 5 minutes because Vi was trying to solo Drake, and then we all ended at the same time because we assumed it's a 2v2.
Mhm.
But then yeah, we just all got killed, so that was a disaster. And then it felt like everyone just wanted to do everything. Like we had this problem for like a while where everyone just wants to do their own play. So then a lot of times we can't decide on something in the game, or like we do like VOD reviewing during the game, which I really don't like. For example, like today we were talking about something that happened like 2 minutes ago instead of just talking about what we're gonna do next. So for sure, like it was different because we played like a lower tier team, so maybe the focus was not as high as if we would play like G2, for example. So yeah, that's why the game felt a lot more uh, random, I guess.
Sure. That's something I wanted to ask you actually, especially with like, it's, I think you can class it as super team. Especially like the four, you, Upset, Humanoid, and Razork are all veteran players. So I kind of wondered, what is it like in terms of like shot calling and who's making, who's making the calls generally? How is that working out?
I mean, I think mostly it's like Razork Upset talking a lot. I think Humanoid also chips in for like whenever we need to like ward for him or play around him. So there's that. I guess today, since everyone seemed kind of lost, I kind of felt the need to step in and
Mm,
tell them to like chill out and actually just play the game normally, because we were trying to do some like the most random shit instead of just actually playing for waves like normally. Um, but yeah, I guess mostly I would say Upset and Razork, yeah, talk
sure,
the most,
nice. Um,
or at least they're the loudest.
Fair enough.
So then, yeah.
I wanted to ask as well, with it being basically a super team, and there's always this like cliche that like super teams don't work, or most of the time they don't work. But obviously, you were on the most successful one that at least in Europe has ever been put together. And obviously, that was with Grabs leading back then, and he's joined you at Fnatic now. Do you think his experience leading that team? Do you think it's like helping for this team to come in and be doing so well straight away? Because obviously, you're in playoffs already, top of the league, and it seems to have just clicked pretty much straight away.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, I think Grabs benefited a lot from, I guess, playing with already very experienced players, and I think he was very good at just being the mediator, I guess, and leading
Mhm.
the discussions and just making sure everyone is on the same page. Because I think he picks up stuff very fast that we talk about, and then make sure to remind us and keep us accountable for it. And what's nice about him as well, that he doesn't really have like an ego like a lot of coaches, so it's easy to talk to him about like the game or draft or whatever. And yeah, he's just very reasonable, so I think that makes it easier. But I think on the topic of super teams, I think it's always very dependent on player personalities if they actually can work well together.
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of times when it comes to like super teams, it becomes like a lot of people are quite stubborn, especially when they have like success. So yeah, then it can be hard if two people have too big of an ego to, you know, come to an agreement or be like rational about a discussion or an argument. Then it can for sure devolve into something bad. But yeah, I think just a lot of super teams in the past, just looking back at them, they were not actual super teams.
Mhm.
Like it is like back in the day when people were talking about like the origin super team. I don't really feel like it was a super team, but yeah, or like even afterwards.
Fair enough.
So yeah.
Cool. I want to ask about joining up with Upset now in the bot lane, and I guess I'd say probably on paper I think it's the strongest bot lane in the league. I'd imagine you'd probably agree. But yeah, just
Yeah.
what's it been like playing with him, and maybe a word on a fair bit. I feel like he's had like quite a lot of criticism for the last couple of years. But how do you think that's been starting to play with him, and how good do you think he is?
I really enjoy playing with Upset. I think it is quite similar to playing with Hans. I think he just puts a lot more effort into getting everyone in the team on the same page as well.
Hmm.
And he just like he's very he wants to include basically he's very included in the whole process. Like he makes sure that everyone is giving it their best, which is like kind of similar to Hans, but Hans was like a bit, on and off in that regard. Like sometimes he was a bit like more quiet, but Upset
Hmm.
is very vocal. Like all the time, outside the game, inside the game, where Hans is mostly just vocal in the game. In terms of like just gameplay wise, I think they're both quite similar in how they play. I guess champion pools are a little bit different, but not too much. I think they both kind of play the majority of champions. But just overall, I enjoy playing with Upset a lot. I think he's very good, and yeah, I think together we're also kind of smurfing on people most of the time.
Hmm.
And wait, what was the second part of your question?
Just about the criticism that he's had. Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
feel like he was like
yeah,
someone that people love to hate a bit for the last couple of years for some
yeah.
reason.
I mean, for sure, he kind of fucked up, or messed up his PR because he's been very cocky or very overconfident back in his day when he didn't win anything. So people don't like that unless you win, I guess. Or just in general, I guess people don't like when people are like confident or cocky. So he kind of messed up in that regard in his PR, but I feel like he's always been quite good. Like, I think in the teams he's played on have not been the greatest. I think the only one I could kind of consider a super team would be the one with like bow perks and vitality. I think that one they could have for sure like done way better than they did. But I think all the other teams he's been part of, they were like a little bit bad. So I can't really fault him for, you know, being at the bottom of the standings for a while. But I also heard that back in the day he also had more. He was harder to work with, I guess. And from hearing feedback from last year and even this year, because Razork and Human played against with like already in the past with him, everyone said that he has matured a lot and has been a lot more reasonable, I guess, to play with, or just like, yeah, just nicer to get along with. Apparently, in the past, he was a menace for the junglers in his teams. Apparently, back in 2016, he was playing with Caps, and he was always one jungle to be bought no matter what. There's kind of a meme about Upset. So yeah.
Nice. Well, you dodged that then. That's good. You got the best part.
Yeah.
Cool.
Pretty
I
much.
just want to ask a little bit about leaving G2 as well. Well, I guess first of all, must have been nice to beat him.
Yeah, it was very satisfying.
I want to talk a little bit about kind of how it went down, because I know there was this like reports started coming out like basically as soon as G2 were out, and obviously that meant that the inference was that they were probably making these decisions, you know, while Worlds was ongoing. What was it like from your perspective being in that? I imagine that must have been a bit difficult. And was there like a chance? Like, did you kind of see it coming at all that it would be you kind of on the chopping block as well? How was that whole experience? And maybe did it impact Worlds as well?
I mean, I could definitely see it coming. Like, I feel like even before Worlds started, like I guess maybe during the bootcamp for Worlds, I could see that some people were acting differently towards me, I guess, because they don't have to deal with my shit because I'm gonna be out, anyway. So it felt like we kind of gave up on fixing some of our issues. So yeah, it just felt like a big waste of Worlds because I felt like we were actually very good and we could have gone very far. So in that aspect, that was pretty sad, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I haven't personally seen like the leaks when we were at Worlds. I only saw the one for Yike. I saw it like on the G2 subreddit or something. And yeah, that was the only one I saw. But I could kind of connect the dots, and see where it was going.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not really a surprise for me. I mean, I guess the surprise for me was how fast it happened because it was basically just like as soon as we lost the next day, already out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just felt weird that the decision was made so early on, like so far in advance. So yeah, that's why I think it was not very wise. But hey.
Fair enough. Maybe just to go back onto a more positive note then, you're on Fnatic now, you're in playoffs, and I think even before the split had started, just from the roster alone, you were considered one of the favourites. Who do you think is going to be up there with yourselves challenging for the title?
I mean, right now saying G2 is a bit hard because they're like a little bit bad, but I assume if they do make playoffs, they're gonna get good enough to actually make it up there, at least semis. Because I just don't have as much faith in the rest of the teams. I think K-Corp is one of the teams that I expect actually to be very good. So it really depends. I think G2 or KC. I think as of right now, I'll probably say KC is probably going to be one of the best teams besides us. Yeah, but I assume if G2 makes playoffs, they should be able to, be better than they are now, which is not a high bar, but
Nice.
yeah.
Final little dig. Nice one. Well, we'll leave it there then, Mickey. Thanks very much for your time. Congrats on the win again, and
Thank you.
good luck the rest of the split.
Cheers.
Cheers.